Hey, listeners, and welcome back to Thriller Talk, the podcast where we dive into the minds behind the creepiest, smartest, and most suspense-filled short films around. I'm your host, Tyler, and today we've got something fresh, mysterious, and eerily familiar. We're talking about a new short film called Dead End, a thriller with a suburban twist that'll leave you looking over your shoulder on the drive home. Sadly, Charlie couldn't make it for this episode, but don't worry, I've got you covered. Let's get into it. So the story follows Margot Brown, a woman trying to get to a work event in a suburban area. She's on the phone with a friend who tries to convince her to skip it, but her boss is strict about team building. From there, things start to shift. She notices she's driving through the same streets over and over again. There's a strange man who keeps reappearing. At first, he's just waving, but the more she loops, the more serious he looks. Eventually, there are multiple versions of him. She gets out of the car to confront one of the friendly-looking ones, and just like that, he vanishes. She gets back in, checks her phone, no signal. She turns on the car light, and there's a masked figure behind her. Cut to black. Her scream plays over the darkness. The film intentionally ended on a cliffhanger, a classic media convention in the thriller genre, to leave the audience unsettled and wanting more. Margot is an everyday character, not a stereotypical final girl, not overly heroic. She's vulnerable but proactive, and we designed her that way to create a strong preferred reading where audiences connect with her on a realistic level. The antagonist, or rather antagonists, are mysterious, from the uncanny man to the masked figure. There's no backstory, no clear motive. That's intentional. It adds to the psychological thriller tone, similar to the team's biggest inspiration, Vivarium. That idea of being stuck in a controlled, looping environment was something we wanted to capture visually and narratively. Dead End is aimed at a Gen Z audience. Gen Z viewers, or iGen, are digital natives. They're used to fast access to media and have a taste for layered, mysterious content. Think analog horror, TikTok backrooms content, and more. Dead End fits right into that world. The use of repetition, subtle changes in behavior, and open-ended narrative taps into that desire to theorize. Gen Z loves to decode stories and share their interpretations online. By not giving clear answers, we actually create more engagement. If Misa Media were to distribute this as a real media product, they'd go fully digital. Gen Z doesn't often head to the cinema for short films. They're more likely to watch content on platforms like YouTube, Vimeo, or even curated film platforms like Short of the Week. For marketing, they'd borrow from campaigns like Smile, 2022, creepy, viral stunts that work perfectly for short-form platforms. Imagine uploading random clips of the waving man across TikTok or having people in the mask silently appear in live streams. Instant buzz. They would also release teaser clips as Instagram Reels and TikTok edits, especially scenes of the street loops or the masked figures reveal. It fits the thriller genre's use of mystery as a hook. The narrative was built to slowly isolate the viewer alongside Margot. It opens with establishing shots, big, empty suburban areas, then narrows in. Housing, her car, and eventually just her. That shrinking frame reinforces the feeling of being trapped. It uses an omniscient point of view, but we stay mostly with Margot's experience. That lets the audience uncover the mystery with her, while still knowing there's more going on than she realizes. They also included enigma codes throughout. Who is the man? Why is the street looping? Is this supernatural or psychological? There's no exposition, just clues. The editing style is key to the tension. Marnet used faded sequences to show time passing. And more importantly, to make Margot's experience feel dreamlike or off. There's slower-paced editing throughout, but when she starts panicking or when the looping driving sequence is shown, there are some quicker cuts sprinkled in to heighten the stress. Audio-wise, it's kept minimal. There's a constant underlying soundtrack, eerie, subtle, to keep tension simmering. At key moments, there are soft but deep booms to signal something ominous. No big jump scares, just pressure, building slowly. That's a convention used in a lot of modern thrillers to create dread without being too flashy. Dead End engages audiences through its mysterious narrative, unsettling visuals, and relatable central character. By leaning into thriller genre conventions like cliffhangers, enigma codes, and psychological tension, and by keeping the tone ambiguous, Misa Media created a film that invites interpretation. The Gen Z audience would connect with Margot's experience, share their theories, and definitely want a part 2. And through online distribution and viral marketing, Dead End could build the kind of suspenseful buzz that defines the genre today. Thanks for tuning in to Thriller Talk. I've been Tyler, and if you're hearing this on a late-night drive through the suburbs, maybe check your back seat.